Hi, Dennis. Let's take a look at this new letter you've sent us. Okay, it's a cover letter for your CV. Here is what you wrote. Let's see really quickly. All right, 158 words, so you were fine. Let's see what you wrote. Dear HR Recruiter, I hope this letter finds you well. I am contacting you to demonstrate my interest on the cloud engineer position posted on LinkedIn. I truly believe that this role suits me because I have 5 years of experience with cloud platforms such as AWS and Azure. Last year I was awarded as the most innovative employee of the year, and I just passed on the AZ 104 exam with 95%. Okay, so I just wanted to read the whole thing through to see just get a general feel for it. And now I want to go through it again to correct some of the errors, okay? First of all, you don't know this person. You don't even know the person's name. This feels really far more appropriate in a letter that is, maybe to a personal colleague, maybe to somebody you know for sure, okay? But not to this HR recruiter. I mean, you're not trying to write like a friendly business letter. You're not trying to write an informal letter. So I would have left this out and just have been more direct with the reason for your application, for the reason for your letter. So, dear HR recruiter, I am contacting you to demonstrate my interest in the cloud engineer position posted on LinkedIn. I truly believe that this role suits me, no comma, because I have 5 years of experience with cloud platforms such as this and this. Full stop here. Additionally, last year I was awarded as the most innovative employee of the year, and I just passed, get rid of the on, the exam with 95%. Okay, now the thing here is, I guess it's okay. I mean, you're talking about your qualifications, so it's fine that you included all of this in one paragraph. I don't really have an issue with that. Let's see what else you said in the next paragraph. I'm excited by this opportunity due to the fact that it has been my dream to join Software One. My previous experience consists of building servers, developing applications for cloud-based solutions, using, I don't know what this is, but you needed an and here. Consists of building servers and developing applications for cloud-based solutions using this. For instance, I am able to maintain 2 clouds working at the same time, exchanging data between them, and still perform as a file server with no interruption or delay. I deeply love technology, and I am willing to be 100% committed to Software One, as well as keeping my knowledge up to date as technology evolves. Okay, so I basically thought you should have added a little more. I think that your letter ends really rather suddenly. You needed a more appropriate closing, okay? So something to the extent of, yeah, I mean, maybe you meant this to be your closing. I see here that you hit enter and then you started this, but it doesn't look like it's a new paragraph. So what I would have done, I would have left this sentence where it was and then just added a new sentence, a new paragraph, something to the extent of, I am eager to discuss my skills and background with you at an interview. I look forward to hearing from you, and becoming part of the Software One team, something like that. Okay, so a more appropriate sign off to really kind of wrap up this entire letter. That was missing for me. The other thing that was missing for me is a little more development of this second bullet here, your energy and enthusiasm. Yeah, I'm excited about this opportunity. Great. And then, yeah, I deeply love technology. I still think there was a little more you could have said. All right, you want to join this company. Maybe you've learned that they use a particular type of software at the company, and because you're so committed to working there, you actually on your own time learned this particular software. Okay, so something like that shows energy and enthusiasm, or maybe anything you did in your current job or in your previous job that really went above and beyond the call of duty to show how committed and how really dedicated you are to this line of work. All right, so that for me was missing. I think you should have done a little more there. All right, so that's pretty much it with this letter. Let's take a look now at your task 2. Okay, so now let's take a look at this essay, becoming dependent on the internet and phone. Do the benefits of this outweigh the disadvantages? Now, one thing that leads to some difficulty with this essay is the use of the word dependent. Okay, so it's not just if the internet and phone are important in our lives, but is the dependence on it, are there more benefits to being dependent than there are disadvantages? So let's see how you did with this if you answered it appropriately. Experts throughout the developing and developed world have debated whether technology is improving. This is awkward here, Dennis. The society life. So, whether technology is improving life in society or degrading it. Some believe that it is not getting anywhere. However, personally, I strongly disagree. So, this expression is a little informal. I don't really think it's very appropriate here. What do you mean that life is not getting anywhere? All right, it's a rather vague expression, but it's certainly not academic, so I would replace it with something else. This essay will argue the improvements and downsides of this movement using examples from the UK government and Oxford University without the to demonstrate points of arguments. Now, so far it feels to me like you did in this introduction what I was worried might happen. You've talked about technology and whether it improves life or not. And okay, you disagree with it being bad. So, but again, that's not what the essay is asking you to talk about. It's asking you to talk about the dependence on the internet and phones. Okay, think about all the jobs that we do that depend on the internet and phones. And if there are benefits to this, if there are disadvantages to this, and which outweigh the other. Okay, so from your introduction, it doesn't really feel like you're going to cover that. But again, let's see how you develop your essay. On one hand, there is ample evidence, without "and" here, that the modern population is becoming smarter. The central reason behind this is twofold. Firstly, citizens can access information easily. Okay, tell me about that. Tell me why. Again, remember dependence on the internet. Secondly, this action improves knowledge and there is no necessity to remember trivial information. For instance, a recent empirical research, no A in front of research, recent empirical research by Oxford University, has demonstrated that 90% of the whole population that uses smartphones has a tremendously higher IQ than the ones that do not use these devices. It must not be forgotten that the usage of internet and technology improves, because its usage improves our brain capacity. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that this technological advancement brings an outstanding outcome to our society. Okay. Almost, but not quite, because again, you didn't talk about dependence. We're now dependent on these things. And does that have benefits or disadvantages? Okay. You simply talked about the use and how we're able to access lots of information. So it's not 100% on topic. Let's look at the second paragraph. On the other hand, get rid of the comma after although. On the other hand, although there is a case for senior citizens, baby boomers, and even some students favoring that society must not use these devices because internet keeps people that used to be close to us away, the impact of letting them off of our modern society must be amplified. Okay, so let's talk about this sentence. It was really long. It was too long, all right? But not only that, it includes some elements that really don't feel like they belong here. So you talked about this, although there was a case for senior citizens, baby boomers, and even some students favoring that society must not use these devices. Now, here's the thing, when you use, there we go. When you use this kind of expression, especially in the way you used it, you're supposed to be referring to something that you said in this paragraph, okay? So you're not introducing something new here, but you're reintroducing and contrasting something that you've already talked about. So it should say something like, on the other hand, although our society is more intellectual for using internet and technology, the impact of letting them off of our modern society must be amplified. Now, here, grammatically it's correct, but here, a lot of the words you used here really just don't make sense to me. First of all, you should avoid using phrasal verbs because phrasal verbs are informal, and I didn't really understand what you were trying to say with this letting them off. Okay, and then amplified was definitely the wrong word here. I'm not really entirely sure what you were trying to say, but it's the combination of these words that make this a little incoherent. So this is largely because as technology evolves, the whole population are required to maintain their knowledge and the ability to use the internet and new devices up to date. For example, an extensive study by the UK government showed that 75% of the smartphone users are distancing from their loved ones. That's a strange expression. Are not distancing from, but distancing themselves, or are becoming more distant from their loved ones and also cannot remember important information such as dates and even names. As a consequence, society has already become less concerned regarding family and other data that they used to remember by heart. Okay, so here I kind of felt like you were mentioning something about becoming reliant on these devices, on computer and internet. So you said that you can't remember dates, you can't remember names, but the rest of it really needed a little work. So you talked about the fact that we're required to use, we're required to maintain our knowledge and use the internet, and then that didn't really make any sense how it was connected to the next sentence about, becoming more distant from your loved ones. So I didn't understand the connection between these two ideas at all. Okay, let's see. So yeah, for me, this paragraph definitely has some issues. Now, there's one other thing I want to mention. This whole essay is supposed to talk about internet and the phone. You've talked about the internet, but you haven't really talked about the phone at all. Okay, and by this, they don't necessarily mean smartphones necessarily, but they mean phones in general. So, you needed to mention that as well, not just the internet. But like I said, this paragraph for me had a number of issues that definitely need to be resolved. Okay, so I mean, there's not really a strong connection between your ideas. The link doesn't really make sense. It's not entirely clear. So it's a paragraph that needs some work. All right, so no comma after all, though. Let's try it again. Although there is an enormous importance to maintain our social habits, I firmly believe that society needs to keep pursuing wisdom and knowledge to improve the quality of life despite the effect of dependency on technological devices. All right, that's still not entirely a clear perspective here. So what are you telling us? Pursuing wisdom and knowledge through what? Through our dependence on internet and the phone? So I was really unclear by what you were trying to say here. So in the end, are you telling us that this dependency is negative? It's unclear, Dennis, basically. Okay, so it definitely is a paragraph in a conclusion that I want you to revise a little bit to make sure that what you're stating here and what your position actually is absolutely clear, because it's really important, if you look at the band descriptors, that the examiner is able to leave your essay with a solid conclusion, okay, where the examiner knows at the end of the essay what your perspective is for sure. All right, so go ahead and correct these. Let's see what you do with those, and let's see another set from you. Okay, I'll be waiting, so go ahead and get this started.